Hello, this is Gary Harrison with Connected Business. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. So let's go ahead and let's get started. So this presentation is on our new upcoming Woohaa network, which I guess I shouldn't say upcoming anymore, it's ready. And it's something we're very excited about. So I'm real excited to do this presentation. We're really excited to share with you what we've been working on for the last 18 months. And we think it's something special. So, first question is, what is Woohaa? So let's just dive right into that one. Woohaa is a new service that connects suppliers, retailers, and consumers. And let's explore that a little bit more. Woohaa connects everything in real time. It allows for retailers to sell supplier products that they normally do not keep in stock. Now, Woohaa is very different in the approach that it does for this, and let's talk about that here. Woohaa makes this easy by connecting product catalog data, transaction processing, and selling and fulfillment tools. So one of the things that really makes Woohaa special is the fact that all three of these things are connected. So there are some companies out there that do product catalog data. They have a little bit of transaction processing, but because they don't give you the selling and fulfillment tools, there's usually big expenses in trying to connect everything up. That's not the case with Woohaa. So Woohaa gives consumers an enhanced shopping experience. Talk about that in a little bit. And it also gives suppliers and retailers new revenue channels. So with Woohaa, it includes everything you need to market, sell, and fulfill consumer orders. Woohaa includes the Connected Business Woohaa Edition. If you're not familiar with our Connected Business application, it's a fully integrated, real-time, all-in-one solution that brings basically ERP, business intelligence, report writing, point of sale, mobile point of sale, e-commerce, mobile e-commerce, shipping, and much more, all into one application. We include our own shopping cart with Connected Business, and that shopping cart will work with Woohaa. However, if you have another shopping cart that you want to work with, we have a partner that's created an application called eShop Connect, which is actually built into our application. And through eShop Connect, you can connect to Magento, aspdotnetstorefront, and Volution. What this means is you can see a product catalog that you like online, download that product catalog with all of your pricing information, and push all those items up to one of those three shopping carts, all in an automated fashion. With eShop Connect, you can also publish these products to popular marketplaces, such as eBay, Amazon, and others. Woohaa will also work with programs that support the EDSS standard. So this is a new standard that's coming on board to allow for dropship companies to be able to communicate better electronically together. We are not supporting it on day one, but we already have it in process, and we will be supporting it before our full release. The initial release is in beta. There will be some differences between companies that are using the ESS standard, because we'll have an option in the network where you can use EDSS or you can use the full Woohaa. EDSS is not designed to go live. It's not designed for full-time, real-time, like Woohaa is, and Woohaa has certainly a lot more options than the EDSS standard. How does it work? So let's talk about that here. All right, so what I like to do is start with an example scenario. And in this example scenario, we're going to take a look at Acme Wines. And Acme Wines is a Woohaa supplier. That means that they're a supplier that has signed up for Woohaa. Now, Acme Wines has 10,000 types of wines. And for those of you in the presentation here, this is a supply company. You're pretty familiar. You have lots and lots of products. And typically, your retailers only carry a small percentage of that. But let's take a look here. Acme Wines has 10,000 types of wine. Meanwhile, we have Bob. And Bob owns the Classic Wine Store. He's a retailer. And Bob also has a website. Now, in total, Bob has about 500 types of wines to sell, and he sells those wines through his store and through his website. The reason why he has 500 types of wines to sell is because that's basically what he has in inventory. That's as much as he can stock. Now, Acme Wines is one of Bob's suppliers. He has multiple suppliers, but Acme Wines is one of them. So one day he gets an email from Acme Wines introducing the Woohaa network. Bob then takes that email and signs up to connect to business. Actually, this should say signs up to the Woohaa network. And he's able to download Acme Wine's full product line. Now, what happens is his website then changes from having 500 sellable items to more than 10,000 items, because he's now able to download all of Acme Wine's products along with their descriptions, their pictures, and multiple pictures are supported. If there's accessories to that, maybe this particular bottle of wine, you can have accessories for wine holders and other things. Substitute items, they're all supported, as well as Bob's pricing. So maybe on the supplier side, maybe the supplier has 20 different price levels. Bob maybe has price level 6. So when it brings down all the products, it brings it down into Bob's system with his price level 6, so he knows how to do pricing. So within a couple hours, Bob is able to increase his sellable inventory by 20,000%. So we went from having 500 bottles of wine to sell to more than 10,000 bottles of wine to sell. Now, Bob also gets a kiosk, so this way he can sell the new items in his store. And talk about this here. So when we have sales of non-stock items from the web and the kiosk, they're automatically sent to Acme Wines for fulfillment. So two scenarios here. So let's say Bob is e-commerce only. He'll have someone come to his website. He will see the consumer will see all of the various bottles of wine that Bob has. There'll be complete pictures, complete descriptions. There'll be all the substitutes will be hooked up. And as they place their order, either the order will be fulfilled by Bob if it's one of the wines that he has in stock, or it'll be fulfilled from Acme Wines and drop shipped directly to the consumer. Now, in my previous life, before I connected business in Woohaa, I worked, I owned a distribution company, and we did drop shipping, and it was tough. We charged quite a bit of money for drop shipping. We did drop shipping for the Sharper Image and Home Shopping Network and companies like that. Now, the problem with the drop shipping was there was so much tedious manual work. But with Woohaa, there is no tedious manual work. Everything is electronic, everything is automated, and everything flows from step to step. So let's take a look at this automation. So you'll notice on the supplier side, we have a product inventory, product images, web descriptions, the accessories, the substitutes, the attributes, the invoice information, the shipping information, the pricing information, the stock availability, all real-time available to the retailer. Now the retailer, he now has drop shippable inventory, drop ship purchase orders that get created, supplier bills, meaning that he can have the bill come in from the supplier to pay. Shipping information all comes in, so this way the second that something is shipped from the supplier, the retailer is notified in case this consumer goes up online, or if he wants to email his consumer with the shipping details. All the web descriptions come across, accessory substitutes and attributes once again. Woohaa automates this entire process. This really drives down your transaction-related costs pretty much to zero. Woohaa can also be used for stocking purchase orders. So if, let's say, you're going through and you're placing orders from your supplier and you don't want to call them up, you don't want to have to print something up and fax it and then have them come back with, oh, well, we can't give you this because it's out of stock, or what about the red one instead of the blue one? You can use a Woohaa for that. So if your supplier is a Woohaa supplier, when you go to do purchase orders in our newest version, which is 13.2.1, which is available today, when you type in an item that has been designated as a Woohaa item, it will go up to the Woohaa network that will then go to the supplier, and pull down all the suppliers' information in real time. So the information that you're seeing here of which warehouses it's coming from, the stock availability, how many is allocated, free stock, and so forth, actually is coming from your supplier. So this way you can order the items that are only in stock. So that's awesome. What are the Woohaa benefits for the supplier? It allows retailers to sell the supplier's entire product line. This increases sales. So as a retailer, you have access to lots and lots and lots of products. And like for example, with my old company, we had thousands of products that were available. Typically, most of our customers carried far less than 1% of our available product line. And by allowing for our retailers to be able to carry 100% of our available product line and not less than 1%, now it opens up new revenue opportunities for them. Transaction integration dramatically reduces processing costs, making dropship cost effective. Even on the supplier side, if you're a supplier and you're taking an order through the telephone, it's an expensive process. You have to have order entry people. It takes a long time to go through the process and put that in. Even after the order's been fulfilled, then you have to print up invoices and manually usually send them out through the mail and so forth and so forth. So even just the act of folding the invoice and putting it in the label in the envelope is expensive. And then stock availability integration ensures the sales of in-stock inventory at all times. Benefits for the retailer can increase their sellable inventory with minimal effort. So retailers have really been slammed with e-commerce. A lot of their a lot of retailers are struggling. And this is really a way for the retailers, especially the physical retailers, to be able to take advantage of some of the benefits of doing, electronic commerce, not e-commerce through a website, but electronic commerce, of allowing for companies to become more connected through electronic and automation and technology. Transaction integration, again, reduces the processing cost, making dropship cost effective. Now you can imagine, Bob with the wine store, he gets the big, thick catalog from Acme Wines, and yeah, he flips through, he sees the 10,000 bottles of wine, he knows that they're there, but taking each one of those products, scanning the images, writing the text, hooking it all up, we're talking about a very, very expensive process. So the fact that he can now download his entire product, his supplier's product catalog in minutes, all ready to sell is huge. And the fact that as orders are coming through the system, they're automatically sent over to the supplier for fulfillment. That's huge as well. And then the stock availability integrations for sales of in-stock inventory. So at the time that consumers go to place the order on the web, it will check the supplier inventory, make sure that it's there before it takes the order. And that keeps Bob from having to call people up several times a day and saying, wow, you placed the order online, we really don't have it, what else would you like? So, again, these are major benefits for the retailers. It will drive their profitability. So at this point, we'll take a quick look at the software. So I'll bounce out of my PowerPoint presentation, and we'll take a look at a couple different things. One is, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with our Connect to Business application. So what I've done is I've logged into Connect to Business 13.2.1, which is technically released today. It'll be up on the website within the next hour or two. And with 13.2.1, I've logged in as a Woohaa account. So here we now have a Woohaa beta menu. And inside my Woohaa beta menu, I have my suppliers. These are suppliers that I purchase from. I'm logged in as a retailer in this scenario. I can find additional suppliers. We'll look at that in a minute. My items, these are items that are connected to the Woohaa network. My sales, these are sales made through the Woohaa network. Purchases, my purchases, again, sales or purchases made through the Woohaa network. Transaction flow is actually available in a couple different places. It will show you all the purchase orders, sales orders, payments, all from one transaction. This way you can follow it. And then there's some business intelligence viewers and so forth and so forth. So we're going to start out with my items. So we will take a look here. at the items that we have downloaded from Woohaa, and this is empty. We have no items. So what we want to do is we want to go to My Supplier, click on the Download Product Catalog, and this will load here in a minute. I don't have the fastest of laptops. Okay. So when you go to download items, there's two different ways that you download. So this is the first time download. So we're going to go ahead and welcome to the Woohaa Download Supplier Catalog Wizard. So it's a nice little wizard here that will download the products from us. From here, what we can do is we can decide which companies that we want to download from. So right now we have 3 different suppliers that we're working with. We're on net 30 terms with these suppliers. And I'm going to go ahead and check the box that these are the suppliers that we want to work with. And click Next. So next what it's going to do is it's going to go out and take a look at what categories that each one of these suppliers has. So Baltimore sells products in costume accessories, athletic shoes, shoe collectibles, so forth and so forth and so forth, along with what their parent categories are. If for some reason I don't want to download products within a particular category, I can do that, uncheck it, but in this case I'm just going to go ahead and download everything. From here it pops up with some of the products to download. Now you can sit here and you can flip through them all. Looks like that there's about 40 products that's going to be downloaded. If there's thousands, obviously you'd have to flip multiple pages. It also lets you know if something's on promotion, which is actually a really cool feature. And it's a very sophisticated feature, actually. It doesn't look like that there's anything on promotion here. But if the supplier had it on promotion, let's say, between now and, let's say, July 5th, and at midnight on July 5th, they were ending their promotion, and the supplier is based in New York, the system's smart enough to know that at 9 p.m. Los Angeles time to take that promotion off your website. So if you decide to have a promotion on your website because your supplier is giving you a promotion, we do integrate that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to check this box, and we'll click Finish, and it's going to tell me I have an item that's unmapped. We'll take a look at the mapping here in a minute, but it's each's. The system will automatically create these if you want. It will always give it a unit measure of 1, but in this case I will say a yes because each is a unit measure of 1. So it's going to go ahead and start downloading the items. I don't have my web server set up on this laptop, so when it goes to bring down the images, it's going to say it can't bring down the images, which is fine. And so it's gone ahead and downloaded all of the items. It's going to try to download the images, and that's where it tells me that I can't download the images since I don't have a website installed. Now, when you sign up for Woohaa, we automatically set everything up for you, so you don't normally need to worry about that. So we'll just let it kind of go through its process here, and then after this, we'll take a look at the items that just got downloaded. It's still trying to download those images, so you'll do this for a couple of minutes, actually. While it's doing, let's do this. Let's bounce out to the second place where you can take a look at stuff. So this is the Woohaa console, and what we've been doing is moving a lot of our stuff over to the web. So another place that you can see all of your transactions are here in the Woohaa console. So I'm going to go ahead and log in as the supplier. Now, when I log in, the first thing it does is it gives me the getting started with Woohaa. So if I'm not real familiar with if this is my first time logging in, I'm not real familiar with all of the options here in the Woohaa console, then I can click Proceed, and then it will go ahead and give me a tour. So I can end the tour here. So I'm signed in right now as a supplier, so I can see my retailers and my transactions. I'll click on my retailers. And under my retailers, I have one pending retailer. So Sports Zone has found us, and through the Woohaa network has said, we want to sell your products. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at this pending retailer. So here's some information. Jason Miller is the main contact of this company, Sports Zone, and some information of his phone number information, business type, so forth and so forth, as well as some trade references of companies that he's doing business with, his account numbers, bank references, as well as categories of his that he wishes to sell. So he hasn't put any categories yet. Now we can also take a look at our retailers that have been approved. So we'll go ahead and look at, let's say, Olympic Village. And we can see here which categories that they're actually selling of ours. From here, we can also take a look at transactions. And so we have a couple different screens in here. We have our transaction flow, pending transactions, meaning that we haven't started on them yet, completed transactions, and canceled. So let's take a look at a completed one. So we'll go ahead and look at number 17. So if I click on any of these one time, I get kind of a synopsis here. It was sold by Olympic Village. That's the supplier information, but I can click on the full details to see more about this transaction. Now, when I come in here to look at the transaction information, I have my retailer, Olympic Village, supplier, Sporting House, and the consumer was Roger McKnight. So Roger McKnight came to Olympic Village, whether he purchased something on their in-store kiosk or he decided to purchase something online. I'm not really sure, but supplier Sports House is going to fulfill that order. Now you'll notice that there's color coding here. Green means that it's coming from the retailer. Yellow means it comes from the supplier, and we can see that in our timelines as well. So basically, we're taking a look that there was a sales order that was created, sales order 0008. Invoice was created off of this, and GRN from the retailer of when that they received the product. Now, all of this actually happens automatically in the back end. The purchase order itself, it looks like that they purchased, looks like Roger purchased the Columbia Boots women's boot pants. Hopefully that's for his girlfriend or wife and not for him. If I click on the item itself, I get pictures of the item. So it looks like the supplier only uploaded one picture, but it does support multiple images. And I can click on the view details, and then it will give me all the product details of that product, as well as any similar products or substitute items that have been accessories to it has been identified as well. So that's a quick tour of what one of the transactions looks like from the supplier side. Let's take a look here from the retailer side. It's very, very similar than what we saw on the supplier side. Let me make sure I typed in the right password there. Maybe I have the wrong URL. All right, let's see. So let me type this in again. Okay. Now it's logging in. All right, so once again, it's giving me the option for the tour. I'll go ahead and I'll cancel at this point. So for the retailer, now I have my suppliers, and these are the various suppliers that he's connected to or he's applied to. So it looks like he's applied for Sports House. This is their catalog URL, their contact information. We'll take a look at the transactions. And on the transactions under completed, we can see the one that was also for Roger. I forgot his last name, Roger McKnight. And this is the retailer side. So it's very similar on both sides. Now we'll head back into the main application itself at this point. And we'll go ahead and we'll finish. Yeah, we can close that one. And now we can come into my items, find items, and now all the items are here. So as we take a look at these items, we'll notice we won't see the pictures in them because the website's not set up, so it's designed to don't download the pictures into the website. But we'll be able to see all the other details that come across, as well as the options and the descriptions and the summaries and so forth and so forth. So that shows that. And then from here, what we'll do is we'll actually bounce back into our presentation. So we've had a quick look at the software. Hopefully I didn't confuse anybody. It's kind of gets a little bit confusing when you're jumping around between the retailer and the supplier. That's why internally we have to color code everything just to not go insane. All right, so what is the cost of all of this? It's 100% free for suppliers. So if you're not using our software, we will give you a one-user version of our software. It's hosted up in our cloud environment for you. We'll set up everything that needs to be set up, including that web stuff that needs to be set up, so this way you can work with pictures. We do ask that you bring on a certain amount of retailers, or at least market to your retailers on a regular basis. It's $99 a month for retailers. That includes one website, one back office, and one point-of-sale kiosk software. This is discounted to zero during the beta period. So while we're in beta, we will basically be giving the solution in our hosted environment at no charge for the retailers. A 5 to 7% transaction fee is charged to retailers as items are sold, depending on the category. The credit is given based on the monthly fees. This is discounted to zero during the beta period. So during the beta period, we're not charging for the software, we're not charging transaction fees. After the beta period, then we will be charging for the software, and we will be charging a transaction fee based on the classification of the items that's sold. However, for companies, let's say that's paying $99 a month, the first $99 worth of transaction fees is included. So it's almost like we're giving away the software for free. Now, these are only on dropship items. If it's items that you normally carry in stock, so you're doing a normal purchase order, then the cost is a 50 cents. 50 cents is charged to both the supplier and the retailer for each purchase order sent through the system. So the benefit of that is for the retailer, they don't have to spend a lot of time on the phone going through products that may or may not be in stock. So it's a huge time saver. For the supplier, same time saver. And then you don't have to worry about paperwork going back and forth. It's all automated. So it's like your own internal EDI system, except not nearly as expensive. Okay. For suppliers, we allow you to do what we call a private network. So let's say, for example, you don't want to expose your customer base to the general network. We do allow for that. So as a supplier, you can contact our sales team, and they will give you the details of being starting your own private network. Now, in the private network, we do work with you to set the fees. So you could have fees that are less. The only thing to keep in mind is that your company will not be part of the general network, which means that new people won't be able to see you. Okay, beta. We're looking for 2 to 4 suppliers to start. You can apply at www.woohaa.com/suppliers/supplierapplication.html. I'll show that here in a minute. In fact, why don't I just go ahead and show it now? So we can see that over here. So we have, let me refresh this page in case anything's changed. Okay, so what we have is a supplier application form. So if you're interested in being a supplier, we'll go ahead and have you fill out this form. I'll make sure that we extend out the street addresses so we have a little bit more room to type out your street address. And if you could just tell us a little bit about your company, then we will see about registering you as one of the first suppliers. One of the other things I wanted to show, actually in the software that I forgot to show earlier, but it's pretty cool. So let's go back. Inside the starting with Connect to Business 13, we have the Find Supplier option here. So let me go ahead and close down a couple of these windows here. Don't want to see the changes, so I'll click on the My Supplier here. And then when I click on Find Suppliers, it will go ahead and load up basically the Woohaa network of suppliers. So in the beta or the demo copy that's included, or the demo store that's included with version 13.2.1, it's already has 3 suppliers here, which are all fake. But if I click on these suppliers, then it'll give me more information about them, the type of categories that they sell, the business type that they are, types of terms that they offer, if they have a website, I can check that out. If they charge dropship fees, I can see what that's all about, as well as connecting to them. So in this case, it says connected. That means I'm already a retailer of theirs. Otherwise, it would say something like connect to or apply now or something like that. Now in here, if you're not sure which suppliers you're looking for, and eventually there'll be lots, so you can come in here and do searches. So let's say, for example, you want to find companies that sell sporting goods. So we click on sporting goods, and it will go ahead and just show us the companies that sell sporting goods. If we want to see sporting goods and athletic shoes, then we can do that as well. Or if we want to see companies that have particular payment terms, only the ones that's willing to give me net 30, then you can do that as well. So it's pretty the way that this works, and lots of different options in here. So we will head back over to the survey, and so if you're interested, come over to this page, fill this out, and we'll go ahead and get you processed. Let's see, we'll head back to the presentation itself, the PowerPoint. Okay, so with Woohaa, it's total integration. This is not a catalog-only service that gives you the catalog, and then you got to figure out how you integrate it. It's all integrated. And that is Woohaa. So from here, we will go ahead and have a Q&A session. So anyone who has a question, feel free to type the question out in the box, or to raise your hand. There's a place where you can raise your hand, and what we'll do is we will unmute you. You can ask the question, and we'll try our best to answer it. Amazing. Not a single question. Okay. All right. So unless if there's any questions, all right, we see one here. So, Elia?
Elia.
Elia. Hi, Elia.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
So I'm looking at this, and I just signed up for Adobe. Can you give me an example of how you're different from Adobe? And can you also integrate with a similar service like Adobe?
As I understand, Adobe we're aware of, but we really don't understand their service too well. With Adobe, you can't do purchase orders, I believe.
Everything is automated, from what I understand too. We haven't started using it yet. We're just getting our website up and running at that point. But
right. Yeah, I'm not real familiar with. Now, as I understand, with their system, you have to go onto their website and place everything, place orders. They don't give you an ERP system behind it, I think is really the main differentiator. Our system has a kiosk software that's integrated. So if you have physical retail locations, we have point of sale terminals. So this way, let's say you sell shoes, and somebody, let's say they try on the red one, they go, well, we really want the blue one. Then, the salesperson can have the iPad point of sale. They can actually place the order for the blue one and have it shipped directly to the consumer. So as I understand it, they have the catalog integration. They have some proprietary software that does a few things, but it's not all designed from the ground up to work together quite the way that we have it.
Okay, well, I guess offline, if you could get a hold of, or I can talk to you about seeing if there's some way to integrate it. Because I already purchased it a couple months back, and we're, like I said, just getting the website. But I like what you've got here. I'm wondering if there's any way to integrate everything together.
Now, a lot of the companies, or a lot of the principals that founded Adobe went and created a new company. I think it's dropship.com or something, and they're the ones behind the EDSS standard that we're supporting.
Okay.
So, but the only problem that we had with the EDSS standard was there was no real-time stock availability. There was no real-time, if a product got discontinued, there was only one pricing method that's available. It's not like, if you're a supplier with 20 different pricing methods, then, you can give someone that, let's say, has been along, you can give different people different prices and things along that nature. So, the fact that we're really, at our heart, we're a software company that creates software for distribution companies, and we create software for retail companies, and we built this network that basically connects everything up, along with all the software to make it fully integrated.
No, I love it. I'm just wondering also how long it'll take before you get enough suppliers up and running, because I guess you're still in beta, so it could take quite a while to get to that
Yeah,
point where there's enough selection.
yeah, it could take a few months, definitely.
Okay.
Great. Thank you very much for the question.
Thank you.
And then let's see. Next, we will have John Burns. Let's see. It looks like John. I'm trying to unmute you, but it looks. Okay, there we go.
As a connected business user already, is the pricing any different for us?
No, it's the same pricing. In your case, you're a supplier, right?
Probably yes.
Yeah, yeah. So.
Well, I'm probably going to do both, actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's the same pricing. You just don't have to pay for the software anymore.
Right. That's what I was wondering. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's still going to be the $99 a month, but that includes basically connected business, and if I'm hearing that correctly.
Actually, there is no $99 a month if you're a current connected business user.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
That's what I needed to know. All right. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, John. And next, my good friend Masood. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Gary, how are you?
Great.
Good, good. Yeah, really cool. Looks nice. Just a couple of questions. First of all, like when you were downloading all those items into, I guess, the catalog into Connected Business, and since you didn't have the images download, if you go back and do that again, is it smart enough to not create the items again, or how does that do that?
You would do the update. So
there's an update.
Yeah, there's an update one too, and then there's a well, in version 13 we have what we call a job service, and there's a job service that you could say, go out every 10 minutes and find if my supplier has changed anything and update it.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, you'd use the update.
So like descriptions or anything that changed that would be updated on a regular basis then?
Yep.
Cool. Okay. And the other thing was, if you could go back to that screen where you had, who's that, Roger McKnight's order on one of those? Yeah,
Yep.
right there. It's showing like, I don't know, this is which one are we seeing here? We're seeing...
This one is the retailer's side of it.
Right, okay. If you go back to the other one, the supplier's screen.
Okay.
And go back to one of those transactions.
All right, hold on. It timed out, so I gotta log back in.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay. All right, so let's see. Let's go to my transactions and we'll grab a completed one.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so the retailer is Olympic Village Supplier Sports House, right?
Yes, sir.
So that purchase order is showing there. That's the purchase order that Sports House sent to Olympic Village?
Yes, if it comes to tongue twisters, these things go through. All right, so what we have here is, let me see, the first transaction, the one between the consumer and the retailer, you really don't see here. So what happened was a transaction came into Sports House, this first one, which is sales order 0008.
Okay.
Then they went ahead and fulfilled it, and it became invoice 0008. That then got submitted to the retailer that went into their system as a purchase receipt. And then but it also connected back to this original order on that side. So on this side you don't see everything. You only see the stuff that goes through the network. Now there is a section in here, and it's just not in this demo database. But if you're in the Woohaa section, there's one called transaction flow.
Okay.
And then that one shows you a little bit more of the entire transaction flow, but since this is kind of there's no transactions in this one.
Okay.
So this would show the original sales order from the retailer.
Okay. All right. I guess what was throwing me off there is that the purchase order is more than the sales invoice, right?
Well, and this is why you don't have programmers run businesses, because they did if you look, they have the cost and the selling price being the same.
Right.
on these. So yeah, it comes out to being a little bit funky.
Right. Okay. And if I sign up as a retailer, my supplier doesn't actually see my invoice that I've sent to my customer, right?
They do.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
So they could kind of see how much I'm selling it for then.
Do they see? We record it in the network. I don't think it's actually part of the timeline. Now that I think about it,
Okay.
but yeah, it's up in the network actually. But no, actually they don't see.
I mean, do they even see my customers?
Yeah, they see your customer information because they have to drop ship it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right, of course. Yeah. Okay.
So it ends up into their system.
Okay.
But it ends up being the ship to. So the way it works is, the bill to is the retailer, the ship to is Roger McKnight.
Right. Okay.
And then these do come in with our dropship line feature. So we have the dropship line feature that we added about 6 months ago, actually, for Woohaa to have it, where so when it gets shipped out, it actually won't get shipped out as a sports house. It'll get shipped out as Olympic Village, but the address of the supplier would be the same. So
it's like a blind dropship, basically, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's automated.
Okay. And as far as like on the customer side, the customer when they, I mean, like right now, like through Connected Business, it shows like estimated shipping date or something if something's out of stock. It's on a PO. Is there something like that for them on this? I mean, do they get like a?
Yeah. So let's say it's up on the website, right? And it's actually a lot of these features that you're mentioning are things that we put into development for Woohaa.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So because we recognize that, and this is one of the reasons why we changed the company name to Connected Business as well, because everything is just becoming more and more connected.
Right,
we're just kind of talking about it like, back when, and I'm kind of an old guy. I had my birthday a couple days ago. I'm approaching 50 now. So, but I'm old enough to remember, when companies can buy, any computer software program and boom, immediately they were more efficient because they were moving from pen and paper. Then it was, the next round was integrated solutions. It was, I can get my inventory and my customer modules all in one system. Wow. And then that was kind of the next phase of software bringing productivity increases to companies. And then then we started to get into the e-commerce phase of, e-commerce starting to allow for companies, and multi-channel allowing for companies to become more productive and be able to sell more. But really the next phase is the supplier integration. And so, one of the reasons why we have done some of the things that we've done over the last 12 months especially is in preparation for what we see as really suppliers and retailers, just their networks are just one, basically.
Right. Cool.
And yeah, but to answer your question specifically, if you're on someone's on your website, if you're using our web module, okay, and you're not using the DSS standard because the DSS standard does not support this,
right?
So it's enough for another differentiator to answer the question previously. If the supplier is currently out of stock on the product, but then has more product coming in 3 days, the website won't show out of stock. It will say order today and we'll ship it in 3 days. So
cool. Okay.
And then it goes into the systems as allocated and reserved and all that fun stuff. So yeah, the system does accommodate that in a very, very quick way.
Okay.
Which is awesome.
Well, one last question, and I'll let you go, is that if we're working with a supplier and then we purchase some of their products to keep in the store, for example, like let's say 20 items, and someone comes on our website and they want to buy, is it smart enough to take it out of our inventory, or is it going to send the supplier a purchase order at that point?
Yeah, it'll grab from your inventory first. If you don't have it in stock, then it will drop ship it.
Okay, nice. Very nice. Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Great. Thanks.
All right.
And Mr. Yuval Hatzav, last, but not last, but Yuval.
Hi, Gary. How are you?
Doing awesome. How are you doing?
Great. Thank you for a great presentation. I just wanted to mention a few words. First of all, introduce myself for those that don't know me. My name is Yuval Hatzav. I'm VP of Business Development for Connected Business. One side note for, I believe his name was Elia. You guys talked about the time it will take to sign up suppliers. But the truth is, if you're a retailer and you have 3, 4, 5 suppliers, bear in mind that the cost of the supplier to be listed on the system is 0. That means that if you call me or email me and tell me, hey, Yuval, I want to use the system and I have those 4 suppliers, I will call them day and night to get those 4 sign up on our system, pump their products in to allow you to use it, because they get only benefit. I mean, think about it. Even if you're not, let's say you're not a big enough customer for them to go out of their way to just, do that. Once they sign up on our system, every single user of Connected Business then can go to the Woohaa tab on our system and choose them as a supplier, and with a few button clicks, have their product published on their own website. That by itself is a huge incentive for a supplier to publish themselves on the network, because they basically get exposed immediately for, dozens of other customers of ours that can choose them as supplier. And I'm sure that even though you're, may not be a big buyer for them, just the added value of you being able to be exposed to all of their product line and have a kiosk that will enable your customers to just have their product drop shipped if you don't carry it at your store, and have those products published on your own website, the complete inventory, not just a handful of products. I mean, this is the type of added value that I can sell day and night in 5-10 minutes with a phone call to a supplier. So don't take the perception that, oh, it's going to take a long time. I guarantee you, if you give me the list of suppliers and the contact information, I will not let go until they make it available for you through the network. That's my 2 cents on that thought. And Gary, if you can maybe write down my email and phone number on the public chat, so people can contact me, and I'm absolutely willing to help with anything to do with promoting this.
Okay, will do. That's Yuval Hatzav, our Vice President of Business Development, who is just fantastic at what he does. And I'm going to go ahead and Sylvie, which before we gave a scenario of this is Bob, and Bob is actually inspired from Sylvie's husband, which is one of my friends from high school.
I figured that. First of all, happy belated birthday.
Thank you very much.
Just a quick question about the categories. I'm not sure if I'm seeing like all these sporting items. Are we going to be able to, like for our website, are you going to have like different categories that we're going to be able to use? Like,
actually, it's an awesome question there, and it's one that I really didn't get too much in the detail. We are going to do another webinar where we get into a little bit more of the technical details. How does the system know what's what, right? How does it know which categories to use, which ones not to use? So with Woohaa, what we include is, when you have categories that you already have in your system, then you have to map them to Woohaa categories. With Woohaa, we include, I think it's about 6,000 different categories for different things.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot. And,
okay.
But I'm sure that we're missing some, so we are going to have a place on the Woohaa website where suppliers can say, hey, I have these categories that I sell in, and you don't have equivalents.
Oh, okay.
So everyone knows where our categories came from. They actually came from Google. So what Google has published in an open source manner, because that's what they do, is a list of categories, and those are the same categories that they use when you publish things to Google Shopping. So Google has gone ahead and made that open source. We've gone ahead and taken it. Now, one thing that along those lines that we should talk about is what happens if the same supplier or different suppliers have the same item.
Mm-hmm.
So for those of you that uses our system, you may have noticed starting with version 13, we added a few more fields here in the inventory screen under classification. Nope. Under setup. Under setup, we have product identifiers. So, and these actually are also coming from Google, or they're according to the Google specifications. Because if you go to, let's say, Google Shopping and you type in, let's say, Canon A1 camera, it will show the camera, it will give you information about the camera, as well as, here's a bunch of people that sell the camera along with their pricing. Google figures all that out from the product identifier. So we're going ahead and putting this information in because it also makes it easier later on when we start putting features in to connect all this up a lot better to Google Shopping as well.
Okay.
I know I went kind of into detail about it, but there's actually a lot to this. That in today's webinar, we just wanted to kind of get into the 10,000-foot view, but as we do a couple additional webinars and start getting into the details, there's quite a bit that's in here that's pretty awesome.
Okay, it looks great. I just want to make sure. I was just curious if a lot of other people are, we're going to be able to use different websites are going to be able to use your website categories.
Well, and the reason why these categories are here is because these are the categories that the sample suppliers are currently have. So it's not all the categories that Woohaa. So let's say, for example, you had a fourth supplier in here that sells, let's say, pet food. Then you'd see a whole bunch of pet-related categories show up because now we have suppliers that sell into those categories. So this will be an item that eventually there'll be 6,000 in here.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But it is designed where there's what we call a top level category. There's different levels of the category. So these actually, the sorts are based off of the top levels. So you'd be able to see anybody who sells, let's say, sporting goods. But then you'll notice as you kind of get into the categories of the company itself, it starts to get a little bit more in depth.
All right.
As well.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, you're welcome. And all right, great. Doesn't look like that there's any other questions. So again, if you want to be the first on the block to have this incredible service giving your business a competitive advantage, because really this is what this is. This is competitive advantage times 2. Go ahead and fill out the supplier application form. If you're a retailer, I'll go ahead and I don't think I have a place in here where I can share that I can send something out to everybody. So let me just open up Notepad here real quick, and I'll put Yuval's name here, and Yuval will be more than happy to contact your suppliers. And that's yuval.hatsov@connecttobusiness.com. So if you're a retailer and it's something that you would like for your suppliers to be doing, we'd be more than happy to reach out to them. And like you've all said, it's kind of a no-brainer for suppliers. There's no cost, and it's all upside. So I'd like to thank everybody for attending our presentation today. I hope I get to work with each and every one of you on the Woohaa project, and that's it. Great. Thank you.